talking here in 1996 with Coach Geesman. Kingsman win a state championship as they beat Ben Davis 17-14. Ironically, erasing a 24-0 loss to Ben Davis earlier in the year at BD. So they beat Ben Davis twice in Marion County. Chris, it was a really neat year, conference champs. Looking back on that one, your thoughts on 13-1 group?
Well, the very, very interesting thing in that was we had an 89 game regular season win streak. It was at the time the best everybody could find. It was the longest in the nation. It's since school in California's beaten it, and after that was published as a national record, I got letters from some school in Arkansas. There's probably 3 other teams about, but I mean, anyway, it was billed as the national record, and it was broken down at Ben Davis. That was our first law. I remember walking in, they saw number 89 with slashed everywhere you went, and the reason I was excited about playing them, it was I figured that when we got beat in 1991 by Ben Davis, the national champs, I told our AD, I said, well, you got to get them on our schedule. I said, he says, really? I said, yeah, get them. And we couldn't get them till 96, but we were trying, and we got the game scheduled like in 93, but 96 was the first time we could play. And I just said, we'll get better or we'll get used to it, one or the other. I said, we got to get better, we got to get them on. So anyway, that's the first time we played them, and the thing that got me was, can't find the records there. Okay, there's the thing I wanted to say. They play the game at such a high tempo. They play faster than anybody around here. And I had a feeling our kids could play at that tempo, but we had to see it first. And we did see it. I'll talk about this game first because it's a pivotal game. First 5 minutes of the game, we're down 14-0. I mean, things were just happening so fast that our kids were, well, we settled down, and the rest of the game was dead even. That's why we had a touchdown that got called back on a phantom hold. Honestly, looked at it as a phantom hold. We scored a touchdown, called back. They scored a touchdown. We missed a field goal, they missed a field goal, but we roughed their holder and they moved it up and kicked it again. So any way you slice it, the way I looked at it, after the first 5 minutes it was a dead even game. But 24-0 is pretty much a butt kicking too. So I mean, that was like I think one of the worst defeats we've ever had at Penn, and numbers wise. And I remember kids every year, people know that we never mentioned our win streak. Everybody else mentioned it. And the year before we broke the national record, whether we did or not, we celebrated like we did, and everybody, and it was great. But every year in the senior talks, our seniors would say, because this is over 10 years undefeated, regular season, and our seniors would say, we kept the streak alive until the juniors, so it's up to you guys now. So I knew, even though as coaches we never talked about it, I knew there's pressure on the players. I knew that they talked about it among themselves. And so I knew there was a team that lost. Everybody said, what's it going to be like to once you get up over 60, you know, what's it going to be like when you lose? 89, and we finally lost. And I told the coaches walking in the locker room after the game down there, I said, well, it's just time to put our money where our mouth is. We've always said, all we ever wanted you to do is prepare hard, practice hard, and play hard. Let the chips fall where they may. I says, okay, we've all said that. And I said, we played hard. I said, we just got our eyes open, but we played hard. And I know we practiced good. And the kids prepared hard. I go in and I just said, you know what, I'm really proud. I said, this game is a lot closer than what people think. And I said, I'm very, very happy. I said, we didn't play well. And I said, we didn't have the best plan either. We had too much in. And complexity is the enemy of execution. I mean, I'd heard that proved it that night, because we'd had every film of theirs the last 3 years, and we spent a year breaking it down, and every play got over 5 yards against them in 3 years. We wrote them down, tried to work it into our offense somehow, way too much. But anyway, I just said what I told you. We were down 14-0, and it was dead even the rest of the way. Our touchdown was called back, theirs wasn't. They didn't rough our holder, we roughed their holder, but it was dead even after that. And I said, a lot of things got to happen, but in 7 weeks we could see them again. They're going to be there for sure. I said, I hope we can. Things got to happen, but it gives us something else to work for now. And I just said, man, we really played great the last 3 quarters. I mean, we played them, and I remember walking out, and there's some reporter asked Nick Bayline, he said, what's it like to be on the team that had the winning streak in it? Nick said, not like I thought it would. Our team got fired up after I talked to him, we stayed real positive. They were all fired up, and nobody could believe it when they come out. They were ready to play again the next night. And so anyway, then it did work out that we did play them again, and it was just well, you saw that game. That was we were down 14-3 going into the fourth quarter, and came back and won the game.
One of the greatest fourth quarters ever.
Went for 2 and didn't make it after a touch, 14-9, and scored again on that pass that we probably spent all game setting up. Every time Billy Seymour came in, we thumped him 4 straight times. He came in again, I just told Nick, just pump and throw it right over his head. You don't have to look. They're jumping him. Everybody came flying toward Rick Sherry, who was wide open. Rick said, he said, I saw it. All I could say, don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it. He said, official Kirby. But anyway, that was a heck of a game.
The funny thing about that is I went back on, because that's on one of my radio highlights, and I remember saying on the play-by-play call, how could you leave Ricky Siri that wide open is beyond me. I said something to that effect.
Mm-hmm. Well, we kind of set it up.
That's right.
4 times in the game. All the Seymour sent him in. All their coaches, he's 41's in, 41, 41. And yeah, they're all pointing at him. And he runs that same cut that he run. And they it was just, they were playing the percentages, and
right.
They got burnt by it. But boy, that was a heck of a game, and that was a couple of interesting things. Number one, that Portage game that I told you about earlier. So I told you how we beat them. They roughed our quarterback when they could have been up 21-0, and they ended up coming back and beat them. Well, this game, all they were talking about, we had the paper over there. We got them at our house this year. It's not going to be like last year. We had all the propaganda and everything. But That's the game. Dave Miller kicked a 50-yard field goal, put us ahead 24-21 late, and we kick off, and he kicks it out of the end zone. Of course, they start in their 20. There's like 2 minutes to go. Well, they start going down the field, 8, 10 yards a pop, and we can't stop them. I mean, it's unbelievable. We're trying everything, studying, doing everything. They're down the field, and with like 28 seconds to go, the kid runs down from like the 15 down to the 3, and we tackle him. They got the ball on the 3-yard line, clock stopped, when they moved the chains. They've been averaging 8 yards a pop. They got the ball on the 3, first down, and a timeout left. I said, man, I remember talking to Rod Pollock. I said, man, we had a heck of a year. We won it last year. I said, we won the sectional, which as I said, we hadn't done it in 92, 93, 94. Won the sectional again this year. And now I said, man, we could have won this game. Well, they come up the line, and after a timeout, or after the clock stopped, they come up the line, and they were taking the big splits in center guard. And Jake Kovach, we said, when you see that, just walk right up and shot. So he goes walking right up the line of scrimmage. And this is very, very interesting. I talked to the quarterback of that game like 3 years ago. He dates married now to Angela Knight, who was our softball player of the year and everything. He's married to her, and she went to the Penn Hall of Fame, and I went over there to support her, and he was there. He come up and introduced himself. He said, you ever wonder what happened in that last series when we had the ball on the 3, first and goal with a timeout left? I said, well, yeah. He said, well, here's what he said, when our guard split out and I saw Jake Kovach walking up, he said, I knew it was a stunt. So we're going to snap the ball in the first sound. He said, that's what I call it. So I say to the guard, I said, watch Kovach. And when I said it, he said, here comes the ball. The court center snapped it, and it hit him. He dropped it, picked it up, handed it off, and we hit the guy for like a loss. And now there's like 19 seconds to go, second, and they call their timeout. And the kid says, we got over there, and everybody's excited, and we called a special play we had for Penn. We got in there. It was supposed to be trips, tight end, flanker. And we came out, they lined up in a spread. And I yelled at the kid, I said, oh, get over. And the kid, excuse me, I take it back. They didn't call a timeout, but they called this play next, because they go in, they run this play in. Well, they line up wrong. And he's trying to get the kid over, and the kid finally realized, starts going across. He said, I had to take our timeout then. It was second down, but now I had to take the timeout because we'd had been penalized. So there's when they took the time. They went over and they came back out, and we stopped them on the play. And Buzzy, and now it was going like 10-9. He couldn't figure out if he wanted to kick a field goal or go for it. And finally he decided he wanted to go for a field goal. He kept sprinting the field goal, and when they got up the line, the clock ran out, we won. And he told me, he said he got the parking lot and all 4 tires in his car were slid. He said Portage fans didn't take that loss too good. But it's about like Russ said, he's down there, he couldn't even hardly talk.
I did that game.
I felt kind of bad for him, but he's turned out to have doing nice over in Illinois. But anyway, that was a game we could have easily lost. And the quarterback told me the whole sequence, exactly what happened, and how they didn't get lined up right, and had to burn a timeout, and so on and so forth. Ball being snapped on the first sound. He said, I don't really fault the center because I just said, watch Kovac. And he said, here it came, even though it wasn't our cadence. But that was, those are the two most memorable things that I remember. The other one was, this was Jim Belden's last game as a coach. And beating them down there was really pretty good. And it's, we had a kid named Danny Kyle played for me as a volunteer coach that coached our running backs. And he was up in Michigan working, and he was coming to catch the bus, and he had a wreck and totaled his car. He was okay, but he wasn't going to make he wasn't going to make the bus. We had to go. So we had to go down there, and Jimmy Garrett, the girls' golf coach, he was a junior high coach for me, and he was there, and we had to call him out of the stands. I said, you got to coach your running backs. And I says, all you got to do is kids want somebody to talk to when they come out. All you got to do is just get them over by you and just say, hey, good job. Well, he loved it, and the kids loved him. He was glib, and he really did a good job. So we had to call him out of the stands, and that's the night that I had to attack Corey and Donnie. David Miller was such a good athlete. They had him as a kicker going down, and he was making a lot of tackles. I mean, usually your kicker's one of your safeties. I mean, it's just almost a rule. But anyway, he was going down, and he got waylaid, and he's laid out there. I told Corey and Donnie, I said, that's done. That's all over. No more cover. And I said, he's a national treasure. You killed him. He said, no more. And okay. But anyway, he ended up being okay. But I said, man, we ended that right there. That was his last kickoff coverage at Carmel. But Nicky Bayline had a great game. He played both ways. He played corner and quarterback. And it was crazy quarterback play, but he did the whole year, and we didn't want to do it that way. But when we played 7-on-7, when Nick was a quarterback, the offense won every time. When he went to defense won every time. I said, what's the one difference? So they got Nick, they win. We get Nick, we win. And we ended up playing both ways. And luckily, in our scheme of things, the corners don't have to do much in the way of adjustment. They have to do some man coverage, but I mean, it's pretty simple. It's a hard position to play, but it's pretty simple to line up right. So that's what kind of worked.
So up until 1996, from when you started to 1996, how many guys realistically played the majority of the snaps both ways?
I think Nick is the only one.
Wow.
Mike Rosenthal played some.
Right.
His position was fireman. So when the fire starts, you go ahead and put it out.
Right.
And I told our nose man, I said, if they ever get 2 straight first downs, Mike's coming in for you. I just want you to know that. If the opponents ever get 2 straight first downs, Mike was in the game. So he played hard because he wanted to stay in the game. But Nick was probably the only one that ever played. We've had receivers, so quarterback, like Ricky Siri played some receiver, Sean Clucker played receiver, but basically nobody played both ways except Nick.
Wow. Superman,
they called him down there after that game. He ran for touchdown, passed for touchdown, intercepted a couple of passes.
I'll never forget Kevin Flanagan's play.
Yes.
That was an amazing play.
He had 2. He had a long touchdown reception.
Yeah, that's the one I was
thinking
about.
And then the other one, the one that was just as big that nobody really remembers.
3rd and 12?
Yeah, and with right before series.
Right.
Actually, he had, and he was like double cover, went up and got that ball and came down with it. Gave us possession, gave us four more plays. Yeah, he was the unsung hero of that game, and he wasn't with the coaches or anybody on the team, but most people just remember Suri's touchdown, you know.
Anything else you think of about 1996?
Yeah, I remember when Ben Davis had a 4th and 1, and they had a kid that rushed for over 200 yards, a big tailback. And they pitched him on a sweep, and I said, "Oh, he's got it." But they ran a reverse, and Sean Watterson was our new back, tackled him for loss on 4th down, and just you know, the little things you do, you always have one person chasing at ball level, and we run our pursuit drills. He never has to touch the ball carrier, because if he does, he'd be taken off too soon. He follows at ball level and makes sure it's not. Our backside corner plays cutback. We only 9 guys have to touch the ball carrier in the drill. Those 2 don't, because if you get them sprinting to the cornerback or to the ball carrier, they're going to be out of position to stop the cutback or the reverse. So they're both coming under control, and boy, it paid off with him on that one.
Okay.